Hello, happy Friday. We've made it to Friday. It has been a long week. I think it's because I had our granddaughter on Monday all day, or most of the day. And then I went down again yesterday for the afternoon. So, which is great. I normally don't get to see her twice in a week, but anyway, it's just made the week like fly by. So we are going out tonight and I need to get ready. I was going to share a story with you while I do and get my lip mask on. Oh, got my nails done this morning. Hot pink. It was so funny. The guy that kind of manages the place came by because he always does and says hi, whatever. And he goes, "Oh, are you going on vacation?" I'm like, "No, just wanted hot pink." Like, do I have to be going on vacation to have hot pink? Thought that was very strange. Anyway, if you're hopping on, say hello. If you're catching the replay, say replay. If I can help you with anything, keyword is Friday. So our item that updated yesterday is our OG eye cream. This is a $78 value. It is infused with caffeine and peptides, so great for decreasing puffiness and rejuvenating the cells under your eyes. So I use it under my eyes and then kind of up on my eyebrow line is sort of where I go on it. So this is free with any 3 items. Once I get off, because I cannot figure out, I feel old. Can't figure out a few things on here. Wonder if I hit that. No. Ugh. No, that doesn't do it either. Okay. Well, I don't know. Anyway, I'm trying to figure out something on here, and I thought if I click on some of the buttons at the bottom, I might figure it out, but I can't. So when this is over, I'll come back and I'll pin my shopping link and my lip of the day. I can't figure out how to do that while we're on. Just, see, anyone can do this. Anyway, if you're interested in this, any 3 items to your cart, you get this for free. So my lip would have 3 items, and then I'll just leave my generic shopping link if you want to add any 3 items that you've been hunting, right? Because that's kind of what happens a lot of times, right? We see a couple things and, just, you like a couple things, but it's not necessarily things that go together. So we are going out to grab a little bite to eat and have a couple little drinks. My husband and I, so we've been married 29 years and we are the worst creatures of habit. If you know us, some of my friends know us because we are creatures of habits, and that's why we're friends, because we've been to the same places over and over again. To my friends that own their restaurant, this is why we know you. What's so funny about it, or sad, depending on how you want to look at it, we've been this way forever. So I remember, 25 years ago, we moved to Dallas, and we didn't know a soul, right? So I'm just mixing up my BB cream, by the way, what I'm doing down below. We didn't know a soul, and we met some friends who actually live in our neighborhood now. We're still friends all these years later. And he was a bartender at the time. And then we have some other good friends that we met because we used to go to this Italian restaurant every week. And when we first started going there, we didn't know anybody, but it was like really close to our house, really close. And then we met a couple of people and we sat with a couple of people because it was like a restaurant. You had to sit at a table, which is not really our forte. But we did. And we ended up liking this one waiter because he would leave us alone. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but we were always like, we'd order an appetizer and then we just sit and chat. We planned every trip sitting at those tables. And it was one of those restaurants that had paper on the table and they'd leave you like crayons and stuff, especially if you had little ones. But we were just there by ourselves and they'd leave us crayons. And I mean, we'd plan the whole summer with the children and what we needed to do and what we were thinking. And I mean, our waiter would come by and be like, so what trip are we planning now? This is how bad it got. So at the time, he started working, I can't remember what happened, but anyway, we used to go on every Thursday night. And Thursday night used to just end up being like our date night. And it was like, we would call and say, we're coming in. And then after a while, he would just be like, text me, I'll just put you on the list. Like it was so nice. And we would take our families when they were in town in, when our children were in for the summer, we would still go. And, you know, he would set out all the stuff on the table and we'd play tic-tac-toe and all the things when the kids were little. It was so fun. So fun. So when I say we're creatures of habit, so because we went there every Thursday, right? And we sat with the same guy and everyone knew, like, the hostesses, when we walk in, to be like, oh, we have your table for you. Like, we didn't even have to say who we were. Like, we just walk in and they're like, oh, your table's ready. Okay. Which was also grand when our families were in town because, you know, we would text our guy and be like, we have a party of 12 or something. And he'd be like, okay, what time? I'll have it ready. And literally, there could be lines around the door. But, you know, we had a reservation, so to speak. So we'd walk in and they'd be like, oh, here we are. You're ready. And we just walked past all these people. It was pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. But what was so funny about it is, of course, then you get to know all the management staff because they'd come by every week, especially the guys that worked on Thursdays, and would be like, hey, good to see y'all again. And, you know, they come by to ask, how are things at your table, that kind of a deal. And my husband used to work in restaurants years and years ago. And actually when we first met. So they would talk restaurants and, you know, we'd just be chatty and whatever. So it was so bad. Or so good. You know, it's how you look at it. But we got to be such friends with a lot of the management that when one of the managers was getting transferred, he came by the table to tell us, and we were like, oh my gosh. And his name was Joe at the time, or I mean, still is, but his name was Joe. And we were like, we're so sad to see you go. And where are you going? And he told us where he was going. Well, it so happened we had a trip planned in like 6 to 8 months from then to be in the town that he was at. So what do? We make a reservation at his restaurant so we can say hi. I mean, this is the epitome of creatures of habit, right? He's in the same restaurant group. So we go out of town to be at a restaurant that we go to every week at our house. But it was about the people, right? We wanted to see him. We wanted to say hello. So fast forward, that restaurant closed. Our person got married and moved cities. And we, like, for years, so we used to go in for our anniversary all the time too. And for years, after he moved, he would text us on our anniversary. This is how bad. Like, we didn't know this guy from Adam when we first started sitting with him. But because we were in for our anniversary every year and he knew to expect it, I mean, he would text us every year, happy anniversary. Anyway, so the restaurant closed. We stopped going, obviously, because they closed. And our guy moved. And we tried a few people after he moved, and it just really didn't work out for us. But anyway, also when he moved, the amount of people that wanted to take over us as the people, I'm like, yeah, you don't treat us the same way. We're picky. Or really not picky. We really just want you to not come around. Be nice. Stay away. Too funny. But fast forward to 2020, the beginning of 2020, before the pandemic and all the junk. We were huge, we still are, we're huge Dallas Stars fans. Huge. We had season ticket holders or partial seasons for, good heavens, years, like 15 years or so. My husband jokes and says, if I only had all that money back, right? It's not cheap. But we were committed, right? This is what we love. So the Stars get the what was then called the Winter Classic. I don't know if they still do that officially. I think they do like this stadium series stuff, but it's an outdoor hockey game. And it happens on it used to happen on January 1. So this was January 1, 2020. And we have tickets. It's 100,000 people. If you're in the DFW area, it was at the Cotton Bowl. Huge. Like that's where Texas OU plays in the fall. Like it is a enormous place. Sold out, 100,000 people, January 1, like noon or something crazy. So again, 100,000 people. We are sitting in our seat and all of a sudden I hear someone go, Darren, which is my husband's name. Turn around. It is from our restaurant that we were at forever. He was the general manager for a long time. He's sitting like 6 rows behind us. What are the odds? What are the odds with 100,000 people plus in the Cotton Bowl that people we know are right there in our section by us, right? It's just so crazy. So, you know, this is where I say creatures of habit can be a good thing. You know, as long as you're friendly and all of that. I don't think anybody that we sit with is like, wow, them again. You know, we can be a little bit, get to our own conversations, which I don't think is a bad thing. I don't need them to talk to me the whole time, but it's that kind of being around people knowing you, people remembering you, right? Because that restaurant had probably been closed for, gosh, a hot minute. Just craziness. But 2 of our best friends now we know because we were regulars at what is now their restaurant. So, you know, there's something to be said about doing the same thing. So this morning when my husband leaves, he says, so we've been home all week, which isn't exactly true because like part of that wasn't by design, but I didn't get home last night. And this is no shade on my daughter, but she ended up having to stay a little late at work and she was all panicky. And I was like, I'm fine. Like I have no plans because if I had plans, I wouldn't be here today. So do what you got to do, work your way home. We're good, reading books, doing the thing. But you know, she's just all like, I'm so sorry, I'm on my way. And I'm like, I'm good. So we haven't exactly been home out of choice necessarily all week, but he was like, let's go out tonight. I'm like, okay. And so of course I'm like, are we going to our same Friday place? And he's like, well, of course. And then he goes, well, maybe, because he did this to me a couple weeks ago. And then he calls on the way home and he's like, I don't know, maybe let's go here. I'm like, I'm not dressed for that place. I'm dressed for the place originally you said we're going to. So this morning he's like, hard maybe, leaning more towards yes. I'm like, okay, I can take that. So then just a little while ago, we were on a call working out some business stuff because I help a little bit in the billing section. And so one of the things we eat there often, we don't always eat dinner because their portions are enormous and I just can't eat that much. And even if we split something, it's like, just kind of depends. So what we've been doing lately, which has been just kind of funny because they laugh at us, we both get a cup of clam chowder. They have the best clam chowder. It's the white clam chowder, like New England clam chowder. So good, so good. And it's like, it's not watery and it's not under, what's the right word? It has enough stuff in it. Let's put it that way. Like they have clams in it that it's really well done, right? And it's like, why wouldn't I get that? We just like it so much. So a little while earlier, he was like, so clam chowder? I was like, ooh, all right. So now I know where we're going. Because if he says that, that's what's up. And of course, we know who's working tonight. And we hadn't been going there for a while. And when we finally went back, and I can't remember why we stopped for a bit. But anyway, we stopped going for a little bit. Oh, I know why. We were going during Lent before Easter. And, you know, seafood's kind of a big deal during Lent. And we couldn't find a seat to save our soul. It was like not happening. So we kind of backed off for a few weeks because it was so crazy. And then when we wound our way back in, after that, of course, we hop up to the bar and sit down. And we like sitting there because two people at a table, to me, especially because we like to kind of hang a little bit, I just feel like that doesn't really help in their, you know, retention of how many people they could flush through there if we're just going to sit for a hot minute, which, you know, to me kind of seem rude if you don't tell them we plan to be here a while. Although one time during Lent when we went in, we couldn't find a seat, and a girl that works during the week, which was actually the first girl we met when we started going there, she was like, I have a table open. Do you want to sit down? Well, you know, we can't say no. So we sit down and we're there a little bit. And we're like, okay, well, we're going to head home. And, you know, we've had a few and we had an appetizer. I mean, all the stuff we always do. Like, nothing different. Oh, gosh, I thought I dropped something. Scared me to death. Quick reaction by me, but whoo! Anyway, when we told her we were leaving, she's like, no, don't go yet. They're going to seat me. So sometimes they want you to stay in your section. It's pretty crazy. All right, so if you're hopping on, say hello. Catching the replay, say replay. And if I can help you with anything, Friday. Now, also, I will come back and put in the comments my shopping link and my lip of the day when I'm done. I'll also link that on my stories. So if you're not following me on Instagram, I know it's weird, but on Facebook, it's easier to go live. On Instagram, it's easier to do stories. So I post in my stories like before I go live, typically, and then different combinations like my lip of the day, stuff like that. So if you follow along on my stories, that's a good place to find out the deals. I talk about the specials, all of that. Because not everyone can catch my lives, but yet a lot of people click through stories pretty easily. So I try and do it in a number of different formats to make it easier for you. My lashes are looking so good right now. And I will say, when we first moved north, so when we bought our house, we moved, it's technically only like 10 miles, but in Dallas traffic, that's 20 to 25 minutes. And it completely changed everywhere we went because I'm not driving all the way down there just to go to dinner or whatever. So we journey down when we're meeting with friends or whatever, but we had 3 or 4 different places that we just kind of ran between when we lived south. And when we moved north, first off, our friends act like they're going to Oklahoma, which I'm like, we're not that far north. Literally. From my old house to this house was like 10 point something miles. It's not even, not okay. So not bad, in my opinion. However, if you're in the DFW area, you know that 10 miles can be a lifetime. So I get it. But I did this yesterday. I took this off. I'm going to spray my face before I do my lips. I know. I just changed things. I need my mascara to dry a little bit. Anyway, when we moved north, we had the hardest time finding places that we liked. Finding places that suited us, I guess, might be the best way. You know, we'd go to a couple places and they'd be all right, but just not the vibe we wanted. Or when we first moved here, we'd go somewhere like 5:15. My husband would get home and it's like everything is full and they're on a wait list already. And I'm like, does no one up here work? How is the place full? So we tried to cheat it early one day and we got somewhere like 4, full. How is it full? I'm like, does nobody work? Does everybody work from home? What is the deal? How is this working? Someone fill me in. It's just crazy. All right, so I am going to come in with one of my staple pink lips. In case that lip mask is still lingering. So I did kind of a neutral brown eye, and I could have gone brown with the lips, but I've done that the last couple days. And I'm just feeling like a pink lip is necessary. You know, some days you just need a pink lip. So this is my favorite pink. It's called Powerful. And I think why I like it is because it is more of a mauve, not a pink, so to speak. A lot of pinks wash me out. Isn't that such a pretty color? So then, of course, Minted, which is this baby pink, and we're just going to put this in the middle. And that just lightens up the middle, so it kind of ombres it a little bit. Isn't that pretty? So I think this is a good look for me. All right, I hope you enjoyed my story time. Comment replay if you've lasted this long, and I'll come back and put my links in the comments if I can help you with anything. Thanks so much. Till next time.